What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's the big dog named Austin. Here we are. It is Tuesday, September 2nd. We've got 2 days to the start of the regular season. The Cowboys and the Eagles take the field in Philadelphia, the defending Super Bowl champions. The Colts play the Miami Dolphins 1 o'clock on September 7th. We are 5 days away from the Indianapolis Colts kicking off. I have a few thoughts before we get into the season. Before we see any action, I have a few thoughts, a couple questions that I have before we get everything going. Starting off with the quarterback.
Not my name, quarterback.
Okay, I didn't get a reaction video out there. I'm a little surprised that Daniel Jones won the quarterback competition. From what I thought that Anthony Richardson would have gotten it, because they were pretty much kind of playing the same. Daniel Jones looked all right. Anthony Richardson looked all right. They both missed throws. They both, I didn't think one set himself out from the other, and I kind of thought that in an event of a tie, you would go with the younger guy, the guy that you drafted. But the Colts instead went with Daniel Jones. They pointed to consistency and pretty much being able to make the layups.
Johnson throws it, intercepted. Knight, 2 seconds, 1 second. Oh, he missed it at the horn.
Anthony Richardson has struggled his entire career with consistently completing passes. Under 50% completion percentage last season. And he's always struggled with hitting the layups.
Alone. Oh, he missed it.
Something that Daniel Jones has been able to do, which could be to the detriment of this offense. Because like I've said in the past, you're not going to win many games nickeling and diming down the field. What is Daniel Jones going to be this season? I don't have much optimism with the Colts offense as far as the passing offense goes. I think that he can be solid. I don't think that he's going to blow anybody away. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I hope he comes out and he plays like, a Sam Darnold or a Geno Smith after, they've kind of revitalized their career. I hope it plays like that. But that will be, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the defense. Now, I like the hiring of Lou Anarumo. I really thought the Gus Bradley defense got really stale and it was just not. They wouldn't change up. He wouldn't change anything up, and defenses continued to exploit that. Now, you've got a defensive coordinator who does like to mix things up, and I think that's going to be a lot better. The Colts have added a lot of free agents on the defensive side of the ball, signing Xavier Howard, signing Cam Bynum, Travarius Ward. They've added Anthony Walker to the practice squad. Welcome back, Anthony Walker. The Colts have made moves on the defensive side of the ball. I think the defense is going to be solid. I've said this time and time again. It's the offensive that I'm worried about. Now, Colts fans have to look at the possibility that this season may not be a good season. It may not be a very fun season. It could be, a 9-8 type season, and the Colts miss out on the playoffs. So what's the future of guys like Chris Ballard, Shane Steichen, Anthony Richardson? The three most important positions in football: your general manager, your head coach, and your quarterback. There's questions at all three of those. Because if you have a bad season, you go 9-8, you don't make the playoffs, you move on from Jones, and you probably move on from Richardson, and you go to the draft and draft whoever. And you're not going to get a very good draft pick with finishing 9-8, like I think the Colts will finish. So, what's the future of everybody? Well, because these decisions, made by Chris Ballard has led the Colts and himself to this position to where you almost have to make the playoffs. Because if you don't make the playoffs, it's considered a failed season, and Chris Ballard and company probably out of a job.
You're fired.
So, I really, really think this is a pivotal year for a couple of guys. And it might not be enough making it to the playoffs. If we make it to the playoffs as a 7 seed and we're one and done, does that still save the job of guys like Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard? I'm not convinced. Who knows what Carl Irsay thinks? Because this is a completely new regime with passing of Jim Irsay. New ownership, more or less new ownership, and there could be different thought process. Because it's a different person. So, what is the future of those three guys? Playing off of that, can we make the playoffs? Like I said, I think my record prediction right now sits at 9-8. That's not getting you into the playoffs. I looked through it last night, and I saw, and I just looked and I wrote down all the teams that I thought were contenders. You've got teams like the Chargers, the Raiders, who are probably pretty sneaky, the Patriots, the Steelers, the Bengals. All those teams I just mentioned, I don't think are going to win the division. I think the Ravens win the North. I think the Bills win the East. I think the Chiefs win the West. And honestly, I think the Texans win the South. So you look at it's stacked up. The AFC is really, really stacked. So for the Colts to make the playoffs, they almost have to win the division. And I think 10, 11 wins around there can and will win you the AFC South. But you've proven time and time again for the last 12, 13 seasons now that you can't beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville. Okay, we haven't been able to do it since 2013. Houston, they're going to be tough. They're always going to be tough, minus an injury like to a quarterback like C.J. Stroud. They're going to be good as long as C.J. Stroud stays on the field and he's healthy. They're going to be good. Who knows what the Titans got? I'm not worried about the Titans, but compared to the Texans and the Jaguars, I'm worried about the Titans the least. Okay. All that being said, I'm not sure we make the playoffs. I want to make the playoffs. I want to be in there. I want to win 11 games, win the division. I want to be physically in Lucas Oil Stadium for a playoff game somewhere I haven't been since 2013 when the Colts played the Kansas City Chiefs and came back down 28 points. Yes, I was there. That was the last playoff game that I have been to as a Colts fan. I want to get back in there. And, you start by winning the division. Something you haven't done since 2014.
First things first, I'm the realist.
Every team in this division has won the division twice since the Colts have last won the division. And it's the AFC South we're talking about here. This isn't, the daunting AFC North or the NFC North, right? This is the AFC South, which is very mid.
Because every single thing in it is mid/
bad, right? It's the worst division in football, maybe except the NFC South. That's kind of weird that the North and the North are the two toughest divisions in the league, and then the South and the South, and both conferences are the worst divisions in the league. It's kind of weird, but it is what it is. One last thing, like I said, record prediction. This is my final. What I think will happen. I think you already heard it. 9-8. I really do think that the Colts are going to go 9-8. Looking at the schedule, just breaking down the schedule real quick. Okay, I think we can beat the Dolphins, the Titans, the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Titans again, the Falcons, maybe, and we'll probably mess around and win a game that we're not supposed to win, like against the Chiefs. But I'm not picking them to pick the Chiefs. I think we'll beat the Texans once in Indy, so that's 7. I think we can beat the Niners in Indy, so that's 8. And then Jacksonville at home, there's 9. I may have miscounted, but that's around 9 wins. That's what I think the Colts will do. 9, and hopefully they win one more game. Maybe they beat the Texans in Week 18 at Houston, and the Colts get the playoff spot. Maybe we can get some revenge from the ending of the 2023 season, and when Houston came in our building and beat us and got that playoff spot and won the division, maybe we can flip the table on them this year and go into their building and beat them and win the division. That's wishful thinking. Like I said, I'm not super optimistic about this season, and I think honestly 9-8 like I said earlier, 9-8 doesn't put you in a position to get a good draft pick. Now, I get everybody in the first round. Yes, they're good, talented players. But when you need a quarterback and you're picking in 15, 16, 17, 18 pick range, well, you know, what quarterback can you get at that range, you know, without trading up? And what draft capital do you have to trade up? So there's that to look at. So the future of the Indianapolis Colts kind of hinges on this season, right? You can go down one road where you make the playoffs and everybody keeps their job. Okay, and maybe you sign Daniel Jones, whatever. Or you go down the route of the Colts being mid, missing the playoffs, everybody getting fired, and you starting over with the 17th overall pick. And if you make the playoffs, you might win one game, but you're not getting past the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs. Not happening. Not happening. So, that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed. Throw my iPad over there. Land it perfectly. Hope you like my hat. I got this thing off of Foco. Yeah, here. Check that out. Foco. Yeah. It's a nice little Colts cowboy hat. But yeah, that's all I've got. I'm a big dog named Austin. And as always, no matter how my predictions are, I'll always be a Colts fan. That being said, go Colts.